Hello and welcome to the first day of 8.5. I'm going to spend 2 days on, basically we have trapezoids and we have kites, and I'm just going to, the book puts these in one section. I'm going to put them into 2 sections, 2 days for you guys. Here are the other answers from 8.4. A lot of homework from 8.4. And if you have any questions on any of these, determining what shape it is or any of the properties, just make sure to check with me in class. Okay, let's talk about trapezoids. So a trapezoid is a quadrilateral with exactly one pair of parallel sides. So it can only have one pair. If it has 2 pairs, then it's a parallelogram, and then it's no longer a trapezoid. The bases are the parallel sides, and then the other sides are the legs. And then we have base angles. A and D are base angles, as well as B and C are base angles as well. Kind of like an isosceles an isosceles triangle. It has base angles. Now, there's really not a lot to trapezoids unless they become isosceles, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. But this says to show it is a trapezoid. So I want to check the slopes here. The slope of this segment is 1/2. The slope of this segment is 2/4, which is 1/2. So those two are parallel. So RS is parallel to OT. And then this slope here is undefined. What I need to do is show that these here are not the same. And it looks very obvious that they're not the same. -2/2, which is -1. So RO is not parallel to ST. So there, that shows that it is a trapezoid because there's one and only one set of parallel sides. And then, as I said, isosceles trapezoids actually have like a lot of special properties. Okay, so the first one is that if it's isosceles, each pair of base angles are congruent. So kind of like an isosceles triangle, the base angles are congruent. But there's 2 sets of base angles for an isosceles trapezoid. And then if a trapezoid has a single pair of congruent base angles, then it's an isosceles trapezoid. So this is to prove, 8.15 is to prove that the trapezoid is isosceles. You just got to show one pair of base angles are congruent. And then the last one is an if and only if statement. The diagonals are going to be congruent. Then it's an isosceles trapezoid. Or if it's an isosceles trapezoid, then the diagonals are congruent. So it goes, that one is an if and only if statement, goes both ways. There you go. So those are some special things about isosceles trapezoids. This proof here, I'm going to skip it. It's a kind of an extensive proof. If you want to learn about this one here with the base angles, you can see me in class. We can talk about it. It's unique. It's much different than the other things. So if you're interested, chat with me about that in class. It's number 37 in your book. And then you have some simple problems like this. Alright, so we have an isosceles trapezoid shape here, wants us to find all the angles. Well, the base angles are the same, 85 and 85, and since these 2 lines are parallel, here's our transversal, this angle here is, let's see, they got it 95, they have to be supplementary, because they're consecutive interior angles, and then that has to be 95 as well. So you're using base angles and you're using consecutive interior angles. And then we have the mid-segment, and then we have things about the mid-segment, and this is kind of why I split it into 2 days, just because it becomes a lot of stuff here. So the mid-segment connects 2 midpoints, specifically the midpoints of the legs. And we've talked about mid-segments of triangles before, where it connects 2 midpoints. The mid-segment for a trapezoid has to connect the 2 midpoints of the legs. And then we have a theorem with it. The mid-segment is going to be parallel to the bases. Okay, so here's the mid-segment there. It's going to be parallel to the bases. And the mid-segment is the average of the sum of the 2 bases. So I'm going to add the 2 bases up. divide by 2. That's going to give me the length of the mid-segment. So that's the important stuff there from this slide here. And just for your own, maybe you want to throw this in your notes. The mid-segment of a trapezoid is sometimes called the median of a trapezoid. So I just threw that on there for you guys. Okay, so if you have the mid-segment here, and you know it's the mid-segment here because this is the midpoint, and this is the midpoint there. So we have 12 plus 28 divided by 2. So 40 divided by 2, that'd be 20. And then I want to show you guys a question. Actually, can I put it on here? Yes, number 5. I'm going to do number 5 before I do 3 and 4. We have trapezoid JK, LM, J and M are right angles. JK is 9, the length of the midsegment is 12, sketch the trapezoid and its midsegment, find M out. This is kind of a tricky drawing to draw. It's very unique. These have to be right angles, J and M. So it goes J, K, L, M like that, where J and M are both right angles. So that's kind of a unique problem. JK is 9, the midsegment NP, so NP, I'm going to put those marks there to show that those are midpoints, is 12, and then find M out. So there's 2 ways to find M out. One, go plus 3, that's 15. Because 9 plus X, where X is ML, maybe I should put 9 plus ML divided by 2 equals the midsegment 12. That's the formula they want you to do. They want you to multiply by 2 to get 24 and then subtract 9 to get 15. But if I know that this is 9 and this is 12, it has to be 15 because 12 has to be in the middle. So there's that for you, a little shorter method there. If EG, let's go back up to 3 and 4. If EG is equal to FJ, so EG and FH, those are equal. Is the trapezoid isosceles? Yes, it is, because the diagonals are congruent. And then if HEF is 70, and FGH is 110, is the trapezoid isosceles? Well, let's see here. If angle E basically is 70, then this is 110 because these two are parallel right here. Those lines are parallel, so they have to be supplementary, same side interior angles. And then you have 110 and 110, so base angles are congruent. Okay, so what I'm using there, going back to here, going back to these, I'm using 8.15, and then the number 3 I was using 8.16 to show that it's isosceles. All right, so there you go. That's a little bit about trapezoids and isosceles trapezoids. Here's your homework, and I will see you guys in class. And then tomorrow's lesson will be 8.5 day 2, which is kites.